In the past year, we managed to scale our business to upwards of $40,000 per month with literally no team in place, and all of this thanks to Instagram. So in this video right here, I'm going to break down for you the exact process that we use to turn viewers on Instagram into leads for our business and ultimately clients. Now, before we get started, I just want to mention that if you have a business and you want to scale through short form content, we can help you, so just check out the link in the description. Now, with that being said, let's jump straight into it. So in this video, I will explain to you the exact strategy that we use to turn viewers into leads. Now, the goal of this whole strategy will be to get people to book a call with you. So the ultimate strategy that we use is we get views on Instagram. We usually offer some kind of lead magnets to create interactions, and ultimately we push people to book a call with us to sell them our services and our coaching. Now, first of all, I want to start by defining a concept that's really important, because this will make you understand, first of all, that it doesn't matter at what level you're at. If you're posting on Instagram, you have leads, okay? And so what is a lead exactly? A lead is anyone you can contact. And the reason why I want you to realize this is that this means that you can go really crazy with this, okay? And even if you're just starting out, as I was saying, you have way more leads than what you would think. Because again, a lead is anyone you can contact. So this means that all the people that are in this spectrum are literally leads that you can get in touch with. Let me just break down for you real quick what this process looks like, and in general what levels of leads there are, because of course some leads will be colder, some leads will be warmer. You have people that just interacted with your content, so people that left a like or a comment, whatever it might be. People who follow you, people who request for a free resource. So again, going back to what I was saying of the strategy that we use, which is fundamentally offering free resources to get people to interact with us, give them some value, and then ultimately offer them a call to sell them our coaching services. You have people that actually go through that free resource. You have people that actively show interest in what you sell. So people that might actively reach out to you or respond to some kind of call to action in which you're directly offering your services, and ultimately you have people that actually booked a call. So all of this to say, every single person that is on this spectrum is a lead that you can actively get and turn into a booked call for your business. So this is just to say, now for example, for us, since we already have a huge audience, because we now have more than 450,000 followers and we have a lot of interactions on a daily basis, we will for sure start from the warmer people. And ultimately, this that you see, okay, is a funnel. And so it's like you will always have way more people on the first steps and way less people on the last steps. And then of course, depending on what level you're at already, and so depending on how many views, how many interactions your content already gets, you will have more or less of the people, especially in the last few steps. Especially if you're just starting out, if you're just starting to post content, of course, you will not have tons of people in your DMs that are literally asking you for what you sell or for your services, okay? But for sure, you will have people that comment, that like your videos, or that start following you, and all of those are literally leads that you can actually actively reach out to. What I'm going to break down for you is the process that we go through to convert those people into book calls, and this basically applies for whatever level they're at, okay? Again, colder leads, warmer leads, there is a difference, okay? And of course, there will always be a difference, especially in terms of the conversion rate. So how many people will you get to actually book a call? Because someone that actively shows interest in what you sell will be way easier to get to book a call with you rather than someone that just interacted with your content. And so of course you always have to keep that into account. Ultimately, this is a numbers game. And so your goal should be to always improve with your content so that you have more and more people that are really warm and that are more towards these steps right here of the funnel, so that you can actually get them to easily book a call with you. But you always have to keep into account that if you are actually going for these people, because you're just starting out, then it might need way more outreach and way more active effort on your side. And so for example, if out of 10 people that show active interest in what you sell, let's say 8 of them will actually end up booking a call. If we're talking about the people that just interacted with your content, and so people that left a like, people that left a comment, might take way more, okay? It might take 100 people that you reach out to. It might take 500 people that you reach out to, which again is the reason why you will also always want to focus on your content to make sure that you get more and more people into this funnel, and ultimately you have warmer and warmer leads to work on. Now, with that being said, what is the exact strategy? So how do we actually get book calls? By following this exact process, okay? And it's very simple. Mind, I will give you some examples. I will not really give you script that goes like exactly step by step, because honestly, and this is just a little bit of more of a general concept that we also apply in sales calls actually, we are not really big fans of scripts. Ultimately, what you're having is a conversation with a real person on the other side, and every single person is different, every single conversation is different. Following a script just usually ends up sounding super robotic and just really doesn't create that connection that you actually need to sell people on something. Again, what I want you to focus on is the general concept of what I'm going to explain right here. Your goal is very simple, and it's to get the problem that the person is trying to solve, offer a free consultation to solve that problem, and ultimately book a call. In that call, you will also go through your pitch and make some kind of offer for sure. The goal is to always start by providing some kind of free value. And ultimately, this is really the approach that we also take on our sales call. Our goal is really to gather some information about the prospect, go through the call in a way in which we try to provide as much value as possible. And it's like we literally take the sales call as if it was a first coaching call. We are not really afraid of just like trying to hold back some value or like keep stuff. It's like we give everything for free, okay? It's like we might even give the entire strategy. Okay, look, based on your situation, this is exactly what I would do. I would do this, that, and that. And then it's like the person usually realizes, and it's like, wow, like this is actual value, like this person knows what they're talking about and they can actually solve my problem. And the same exact thing goes for this conversation, okay? So you want to get the problem that they're trying to solve, offer a free consultation in which you're actively going to try and solve that problem, and book this call. What will that look like? In general, if we are starting from people, okay, I will actually go in order. Let's make it from the simplest to the hardest, okay? When it comes to people that actively request your free resources or actively show interest in what you sell, what we do is we basically have automations. And so, you know, the classic thing on Instagram of like someone replies to your story or comments on a post with a specific keyword and then they trigger an automation. Exactly that. And so basically what we do, and not going really to break down the automation right here because, well, first of all, it's really, really simple. We have other videos in which we actually break down the automation side of things. And second of all, it's because this doesn't really apply to many of you. The thing is like this works and just playing with the automation itself to automatically book the calls works when you have tons of traffic. And so it usually takes a while before you get to that point. And by the way, again, if you want our help to get to that point in which everything can be kind of automated because you have so much traffic that you don't really need to manually go in and book people, you can always check out the link in the description. As I was saying, I will not focus too much on this, but what we would normally do is in the first message that we send in the automation, we'll literally just say, hey, like, I saw that you're interested in this resource and here's the link. By the way, what's your number one struggle with, for example, for us, growing a personal brand, because that's what we help people with. For you, it might be if you're in fitness, let's say, with losing weight. If you're in, I don't know, trading, becoming profitable, whatever it might be your niche and the main problem that people struggle with and like identifying what they're actually looking to solve. We literally just put that out there so that people can reply and from there you can start a conversation. But again, I'm not focusing too much on this because this is the simplest part, to be fair. I'm going to focus a little bit more on starting from the point in which you just have, for example, content interactions or follows. And so what you will want to do is literally just reach out to people and try to take this genuinely, okay? Your goal should always be to genuinely want to solve people's problem, because when you take it with this approach, it becomes way easier to actually get a conversation going and eventually sell them on something. You might start a conversation with something like, hey, I noticed you liked one of my recent posts and I just wanted to reach out to see if I could help you in any way with and what you do. For example, for us, it might be with growing your personal brand. Or, hey, I noticed you checked out my free resource on this is actually if you want to start the conversation. Or, for example, if someone requests the conversation but that they don't interact with an automation, maybe that just asks for the problem and, you know, they want to see also someone like actually interacting because they might not really want to talk with an automation. And so I noticed you checked out this free resource that I made and I just wanted to reach out to see if I could help you in any way with, again, what you do. For example, for us, it might be with growing your personal brand. Again, for the follow, hey, I noticed you started following me recently and just wanted to reach out to see if I could help you in any way with, and again, what you do. This is literally just trying to start the conversation based on an action that they took and seeing really if, again, you can help them in any way. And by the way, again, there will be a conversation in between, okay? But the second step will be once you actually outline the problem that they have to offer a free call in which you're going to try and help them solve this problem. What you want to do, and this applies the same as in sales as well, it's dig deep. You don't want someone to, for example, I'll take our example of growing a personal brand. If someone replies to me and they're like, oh, I would like to get more views, I will not stop there and be like, oh yeah, that's a very common problem. Do you want a call in which I can help you solve that? Because it's like, I didn't get the real problem. I would go more in depth into trying to understand really what they're looking for and what they're trying to solve. Why do you want more views? Is it for your business? And why is it for your business? Your business is not performing as well as you would like to. And maybe, for example, it's not that. Maybe it's that, because you're doing advertising and you're spending tons of money on ads and you're barely profitable, or you want more views because content would actually help you grow your business in a completely organic way and without having to spend money on ads. Okay, like now I'm starting to get to the real problem. And when I get to that point, because, and again, you want to repeat this back to people, you want to show that you actually understand their problem. And it's like, if they just give you a basic answer, you don't understand their problem because you literally don't know what they actually want that outcome for. And so you will want to go through this process. Again, this is why I will not really give you a script, because it's a conversation. Everyone will reply differently. It might take 2 messages. It might take 10 messages. It might take, 2 days and 50 messages to really dig deep enough to understand their problem. And ultimately, you want to get to the point, and it's, again, the reason why I'm giving you some scripts, let's say, for this, but especially once you are at this point, so you're already in the conversation, you don't really want to just use something that copy and pasted, okay? So it's like, take this as an example and then tweak it based on the conversation. I might dig deep at this level and be like, okay, as I was saying, you want more views, why? I understood. For example, it's because you're spending a lot of money on ads, they're not that profitable, you actually start hating doing advertising, you would much rather get free traffic from content. I get to the point in which we're in this situation in which it's like, okay, you have that problem, this is the reason why you have it, and this is why you really want to solve it now. And then I might be like, look, actually we helped these guys move from spending thousands of dollars in advertising every single month into rebuilding their strategy and actually creating content, organic content, that now gets them, replace completely their ads and gets them those same results, but just by having an editor and maybe like a small team in place to create content. Would that something that you'd be interested in if I broke down the strategy for you? Okay. So again, see, right now I'm improvising it and I'm not even reading through the script, but just because it will always depend from the situation, as I was saying. And so I might be like, would you be interested in a quick free call to see if I could help you with this based on what I said? And so again, I'm describing it also as in like, I know what you're feeling and I know how to solve it potentially, because it's like, I either did it for myself or I did it for someone else. And so you see, if you frame it that way, it's really easy to get a book call ultimately. And now, of course, again, it's a numbers game, and inevitably, based on how warm these people are, it will take more or less effort. So again, it's like, if you're starting this conversation from someone that actively shows interest in what you sell, so it might go something like, someone messages you and they're like, I would like help to grow my personal brand. What can you do for me? And then still, I will go through the same process, okay? And this is what I want you to focus on. This is what I want you to really understand. Like, this process is universal. It doesn't matter at what level you're at on Instagram, and it doesn't matter at how warm the leads are that you're working on. This process still applies, okay? And so again, active interest in what you sell, it's someone that's already there, that's like, I want to buy something from you, I want your help. It will be way easier. Again, it might be 10 people that you have that show active interest, 8 might convert into a book call. Then you have steps back. And so someone that requested a free resource and also interacted with this free resource, consumed some value, that might become, let's say 2 out of 10. And then you go one step backwards and it's like 1 out of 10. And then it's like, especially when you go to people that just interacted with you, so started following you or interacted with your content, which, by the way, don't underestimate this. And I know some of you might think, but it's just, it's just a follow, it's just a like. But it's like, that person took the time to watch that piece of content that you made and either click the like or click the follow. And so it's like, they are interested. Again, of course, all of this makes sense if you're creating educational content, which is ultimately like what we help people with. But if you're creating educational content, that person stopped there and they were like, let me look at this content or let me follow this person because they can help me solve a problem. The underlying theme of this is the person has a problem if they're even just interacting with your content, since it's educational content that helps them with something. And so they have a problem, you just have to find out what the problem is. And again, It's a numbers game. Of course, if you're DMing people that just liked a content that you put out, most of them will not really be that likely to reply or to start a conversation with you. But you know, you message 100 people, you message 200 people, you message 1,000 people. And from there, you start conversations and ultimately you get booked calls. This, again, is the process. Now, let's take another step forward and talk about another really important concept, which is follow-up. For the most part, we actually now use automations because, again, we managed to get to the point in which we have a huge audience, we have tons of interactions, a lot of views every single day. We don't necessarily need to actively message people all the time. But there has been times and instances in which we decided, okay, you know what, we want more. Let's actually start actively DMing people and actively going through this process that I just described. What we've seen work incredibly well and being extremely important is follow-up. You need to follow up even multiple times depending on how warm the person is. Okay? And let me explain to you what I mean by that real quick. So, by the way, like this is why it's so important. Follow-up is the number one thing that separates the beginner to the pro. Whenever you're just starting out with these things, you might think like, oh, I will send a message to this person and that's it. If they don't reply, they're not interested. That's never the case, okay? It's social media, okay? You always have to realize the context. It's social media. You're one scroll away from closing the DMs and looking at some, whatever, nice videos of dogs and cats, you know? It's like there are more interesting things that people want to do on social media than having a conversation with complete strangers. So it's like you have to remind people. Plus, especially if you're also doing like more B2B or things like that, it's like business owners are busy, they will get distracted, they will have other things to do. And so it's like you lose people easily. You need to follow up. That's really important. How much do you need to follow up? This depends on how warm the person is. It's actually the other way around. It's kind of like reversed. The more warm the person is, the more you're allowed, let's say, to follow up. You don't want to become annoying, okay? Like this is also really important. You don't want to get to the point in which you're just like the person that's insisting like a lot with every single prospect that you're messaging. And for example, someone that's super cold, they just liked your video and then you're just there on top of them and constantly messaging. That's just like that. Don't do it, okay? But follow-up is really important. And I've seen this time and time again in which I had conversations in which we were already in between the conversation and going through this entire process and the person disappeared. And sometimes I might need to follow up 2, 3 times, 4 times even. What is the criteria that I would follow for this? If it's outbound, so if you're just messaging the people and the person didn't message you, and so for example, like going back to what we were saying in the different stages, if someone just interacted with your content and so they left a like or a comment, or if someone just followed you, okay? Those kind of people, and so like they didn't really message you or interact in DMs with you in any way, I would probably just follow up one time if you really wanted to, okay? I will also tell you in a second how to follow up because that's also really important. But I will probably stick to one time because again, otherwise it just becomes annoying. It's like, even if they saw the message and they decided to not reply, it's like they didn't start a conversation actively with you, so they might not be to that point yet. And so if that's the case, all cool, just keep on posting content, keep on providing value, especially if they started following you. Eventually they might convert later down the line. And especially because of that, you don't want to just annoy them. That's really important. Second, inbound, okay? So you actually have people that are actively messaging you. And so whether that be requesting a free resource from you, or they also consume the free resource. So again, this is more of like the steps right after. So they requested a free resource, which again, we usually do that through the automations. So they replied some kind of keyword and they are actively reaching out to you effectively to be like, hey, like I'm interested in this free resource that you have, because this is like the person actively saying, okay, I have a problem. It's a big step from just the follow to requesting the free resource. And then you have also consumption of the free resource, which again, it's kind of in between, or active interest in what you sell. And so also when it comes to this, the person reached out to you and they were like, how can you help me, you know? And so if that's the case, even if it's just the first message, feel free to follow up 2 or 3 times. Because again, situation is completely different. It's not someone that you're actively reaching out to, they reached out to you. Again, you have the permission, let's say, to push a little bit more because again, most times they might just forget. And remember, you're there to provide value. You're there to help these people. And so because of that, it's also your duty to actually push a little bit if they forget or if they disappear. And then last but not least, conversation, okay? And this is also what happens very commonly. It's like you're having a conversation. Sometimes you might even get to the point in which it's like, oh, the person agrees to the call and they're like, oh, you know what, like, yeah, let's hop on a call, like show me how you can help me, and then they disappear. That happens, okay? So in that case, I would not be afraid to follow up even more times. So like 4 or 5 times, it's fine. That still works because again, they showed all of this interest, they got to that point. If they disappear, and again, that can happen, it's most likely because they just got busy or they forgot. You have to feel free to reach out and actively do follow up even more. And now, really, really important, how do we actually follow up? There are a couple of fundamental things. Now you will see also this really funny conversation that I actually had. Okay, so first of all, automations are a really big thing. So people now always fear that it's like AI or some kind of automated thing. So you want to show that it's actually you, if it's actually you reaching out. You want to show that you actually care. And the way that you show that you actually care is, take that extra step. It might be making a video, making an audio recording, okay? And so what I used to do, and this again is in the situation in which we decided to actively start doing this part of the lead generation, or even better, like actually booking the calls. I would literally go through every single person that requested access to our coaching in this case, or sometimes even just our free resource. I will take my phone, I will open up the camera, and I will be like, hey, their name, and I would be like, I actually saw that you were interested in our coaching, and I was just wondering really how I can help you. So just let me know here in the chat, And it's like, it takes you 5 seconds, but it's way better than whatever copy and paste message you might use or whatever automation you might use, because it shows some level of effort and the fact that you actually care about helping them in that case. And the second thing, and this is also just, of course, it depends on your language, on your tone, but we really like to do it, is making it fun. The last thing that you want to do is take all of this super seriously, because it gets boring, honestly. It's like, as I said, it's a numbers game. Sometimes you might have to reach out to 100 people. It's like, it gets super boring. And so making it fun, both for you, but also, of course, for the other person, because it's also like everyone gets reached out to. Okay, it's just normal on Instagram. Especially if you're in a niche that's a little bit competitive, there might be other people that are trying to do the same exact thing that you're trying to do. And so it's like, what I used to do is like use GIFs or memes with the goal of making myself stand out among boring conversations. Okay, it's like, if I can just, get you to crack a smile or crack a laugh at what I'm sending you, it's way easier that this will actually work. And I promise you that this works also because we've experienced this time and time again. We actually have people that pitch us stuff through emails all the time. And it's like, whenever they send like the crazy, funny thing, whatever that they can think of, we always remember those emails at least, Like, we might not be interested still, but at least we remember those emails. We have a laugh. And it's like, those are the ones that sometimes we even just like consider replying to at least. And so it's like, again, make it personalized, make it fun. And as always, the underlying theme, really try and provide help to people and really try to solve a problem for them. And because of that, follow up, okay? Do this. With that being said, of course, it's a given, but the more views your content gets, the easier this process becomes. Again, as I was saying, as I was anticipating, we don't do this anymore fundamentally, because we don't need to. We have so many views and so many interactions that we have a lot of warm people, and so we just use automations fundamentally to get book calls on autopilot. And now this is exactly what we do also for other people. These are just some of our client results. We have Marco, for example, that managed to get to 10,000 followers, and you can see the results right here on screen. And for example, for his case, he got 200,000 views from this video right here. And let me tell you, this can get really crazy because, for example, someone like him, whenever you have the right systems in place, the right funnels in place, for him that he got like 50K in clients just from this video alone. I know this is crazy, but it's actually what happens when you nail down the content. Or people like Gabriel that got this kind of results, as you can see right here, 600,000 views, 100,000 views. Michele, that's at almost 20,000 followers. Cesare, same thing right here, and you can see 500,000, 600,000 views, 1 million views. Andy as well, okay? So 200,000, 300,000, as you can see, and almost 10,000 followers. Franco, okay? I can keep on showing you results. The whole point is this gets way easier when you actually get traction and when you actually have a lot of interactions in your content and you just get warmer and warmer people. So if you're interested in getting our help to get results like this for your business, you can just check out the link in the description. That's it for this video. And with that being said, we'll see you in the next one.